personally, because we already have a very scary streetscape on Gulf Boulevard with that sidewalk right on the curb, that bringing 60-foot buses coming through here where we have a lot of heavy pedestrian activity as it is, I think it's a safety issue. And I think that if we reached out to our designated DOT rep to have them do some sort of a traffic study with bringing these in here with the, all of the pedestrian activity that we have, I think they would deem it an unsafe move forward. I can't imagine that they wouldn't. I mean, so to me, just, increasing that kind of, without even, true ridership numbers, but just our streetscape alone, it being a deterrent for safety of our visitors and people that are on roadways.
I hadn't heard any discussion on the safety issue at all. But,
Right.
the detriment to the roadway is one thing, but that's a DOT roadway,
So we can reach out to our DOT representative and, initiate that kind of conversation. Is this really the appropriate streetscape for this type of, size of vehicle when we're constantly having to protect and watch out for our pedestrians. And it's a dangerous road to drive on. Gulf Boulevard is not a friendly ride at all. I mean, I always have to stay on the inside lane. And I told my girls that, when they were driving, I'm like, stay on the inside lane because, people dart out and you want to be able to, it's not an easy drive. And it's because of the streetscape, and it's unfortunate that our streetscape is set up the way it is with that sidewalk to the curb with, and then, the islands in the middle that are, make no sense. And
well, they're in the process of redoing the road down through South Pasadena. And in fact, Harry called me just the other day. He said, I heard they're taking away 2 lanes of traffic.
Not good, no. That's what this is about.
No, it's not yet. Hang on, I'll give you a chance. And I guess that
there was a letter that was written by the commission to PSTA saying not just, and then Harborside also, the residents, and there are like 818 condos there.
Yeah.
Wrote a letter because they want to take one of the lanes and turn that into a bus lane. So what happens when they get to the bridge?
I don't know.
well, it's just
Plus there's a bike lane
we're
there.
writing letters to PSDA, and I think we need to be getting DOT as an advocate on our behalf for the city of St. Pete Beach. If the rest of the commission feels the same way that I do, that we're still a very small beach town, and we have a lot of pedestrians and a lot of vehicular traffic.
Right.
And incorporating a 60-foot bus is not in the best interest of the residents and the city.
Yeah, because I wonder how those crosswalks fit in, because it's DOT put the crosswalks in, but none of the other areas where the bus is coming has those. We have them like every 3 feet, not really. But we have a lot of them, and it's just, I don't even know how the bus will get through to go to the city.
Bus rapid transit and the route that they're planning on going is not rapid transit. Truly, if you want to rapid transit from the beach down to downtown, you could take them right. So to me, it's very conflicting in their goals, and I'm sure it's because I don't know as much as I know on this issue, but what I know is the city of St. Pete Beach, and I do not think that those are a good fit for the pedestrian and vehicular traffic that we already have on our roads, considering we have sidewalks on the curb and arbitrary islands.
And Mayor, our rep from FDOT would be Bob Zito.
Yeah, I got Bob's number.
Yeah.
I'll give Bob a call and see if I can.
Maybe see his pulse and maybe share his contact information with all of us. And have a genuine conversation about our concerns.
For sure.
Yep, I can, what I can do is probably send that through the city clerk and let her give it to everybody. But I will call him. Yeah.
In conjunction with that, I guess I question not only the capacity of those buses, but the number of seats. I don't know that PSTA has ever given us any information as to how they got to that number. What's the justification for having that many seats on a bus in the
It's a
first place.
60-foot long bus.
So, I mean, that's, at the same time that you can ask the question of DOT about the safety issues, I think it's also fair to ask PSDA, because I don't think they've ever given, I've never seen anything.
I think there's somebody in the commission's asked every meeting.
Well, we have asked a lot of times, but have never seen where, I mean, does anybody know even how many seats are on that? Elongated, what do they call it, articulated
Yeah,
bus?
but I don't think they're designed for us, they're designed to pick up people downtown and all the way along
Bring
and
them out here.
ultimately bring them here.
Yeah, but somebody made a decision that we don't need a,
60
that's the numbers, a
bus.
30-passenger bus, we need a 60-passenger bus.
Mhm.
And so there must be some thought process,
Analytics.
analytics, that you used to say we can't do it on a regular bus, on how many seats are on a regular bus, we need the double bus.
Yeah,
And one thing that I've learned from this whole process is the PSDA in particular, their goal is not to provide, is not the priority on the routes and those kinds of things aren't necessarily to provide transportation to people who are environmentally conscious and want to choose not to have a vehicle, or people who can't necessarily afford to have a vehicle to get them from place to place. A lot of it's dependent on the length of the route for union contracts and federal and state grants. That's it. I mean,
It's all about
and I
the-
think as long as that's your mission, I may have missed an email, but I see firsthand how many people are on a bus. I would actually think that we would do better creating our own transit system for the city of St. Pete Beach, dropping off at the 75th Avenue, and us having something that's super branded to the family-friendly vacation destination transit throughout the city of St. Pete Beach. I think that would just be way more effective. But
or
again,
even if it went over to South Pasadena and came and moved around.
it could do that as well. We would be saving $750,000 or spending that $750,000 that would be more conducive to our streetscapes and our ridership and that kind of thing. So it's a broader discussion for sure than just, PSDA and BART. But when I look at what their goals and directives are, it's not necessarily, the two, what I would think of common sense components that it would be their mission. And it's just.
So I just don't see very many people getting on the bus with their umbrella and chair and in their beach bag and taking a bus out to the.
I think we need, but we've got people here that obviously want to speak to this, so I'd like to open up Donnie's comments on this, if anybody wants to speak. Tell us who you are and
Peter
what
Franco from South Pasadena, and thanks for letting me speak, by the way. I know
I'm sorry about the wait, but,
Yeah, so I think Commissioner Fletcher is going down the right road. What I mostly wanted to, so let's see where to start. So first, I'm coming to communicate, I came to speak to my city, South Pasadena, make sure, I'm opposed to this, but that I'm on good standing, on the right track and all that. And whatever was moving along through emails or whatever with this was not something that was a joint decision for South Pasadena. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. And South Pasadena, the full commission, not one, have written a letter to DOT saying that they're opposed to it. And my neighboring condo, Harborside, the entire condo association has put a formal letter into DOT saying they're opposed to it. I'm at Bay Island, and they're close to doing it. Ben is just taking over. He's got a plethora of stuff, and I believe he's going to take it up. He's got that resolution, and everyone I spoke to has been opposed to it. So that's where South Pasadena stands. They are proposing taking 2 lanes out, which will destroy us there. The city clogs at the drop of a hat. I can't even. So these informationals that they've been going around to giving to different areas. I went again to one about 2 weeks ago that they did over at the church on Central Avenue, and it was basically FDOT. They did the easel kind of thing, and they were talking about broad projections. at the very end of it, just by chance, I gave them, submitted my comments. At the very end, just by chance, I forgot my clipboard. So I went back, and then finally, the director of Ford Pinellas, Whit Blanton, was there. So I recognized him, and I communicated. I went to communicate to him, and basically, it started out with just basically, we're opposed to this, hama. To put it quite blunt, very, very arrogantly, snarkily, we're just doing it. I got data. I told him that I live in St. Pete. He wasn't listening to that. And just so that you know, it may not be the same way in all your emails that you're getting, but they are communicating it, that St. Pete Beach is putting money toward this, and they're communicating it that St. Pete Beach hotels have said as a group they have no way to get their people to work, so they are supporting taking out lanes from other areas. I'm not giving you, I'm saying it straight up. My intention was just to communicate to him, and that's what he communicated. So obviously opposed, appreciate a letter that at least that y'all might be able to do, and would request that, Bob Esposito's a good guy. I would request that you send it to Mr. Gwynn and the new director, Mr. Thybo. That's really what's going to get the power out of it. So thanks for listening to what I have to say tonight.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Ed Carlson, and from St. Pete, and I've enjoyed St. Pete Beach since 1941. So it's a great community. I applaud you all for continuing going.
Well, thank you.
An overview on Central Avenue BRT was originally going to go to Treasure Island, down Central Avenue, and Madeira Beach and Treasure Island said, we don't want your 60-foot bus every 7 minutes clogging up the congestion in our community. And so they turned and came through South Pasadena out to St. Pete Beach. You know that they're going to take the 2 lanes off of Pasadena Avenue. And the city commission, all 5 of them already signed a letter opposing it. In St. Pete, they now have expanded, not going down Central Avenue, but going down First Avenue north and south and taking a lane off of each one. Those were originally our arteries, east and west. And they were moved from 4 lanes down to 3 lanes, and now they're going to move them down to 2 lanes. That's insane. All the communities around this area are expanding roads, and we're constricting roads. I just downloaded from the Federal Transit Authority today the February 2019 application for their grant, and they list you on the hook for $1,500,000, and that's not the only thing. There's an ongoing cost of $4 million a year to operate this thing. PSTA runs a deficit of $86 million a year paid for by taxes. In the last 4 years, their ridership has declined 20%. This is a dying dinosaur. You have better things to do with $1.5 million in ongoing cost tax money every year than pour it down the drain of a dying dinosaur. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to clarify one thing. We've seen that $1.5 million in paperwork and everything else, and I always ask the city manager, where did they get that number? He doesn't know either, because we're not paying it.
But their review and their application is putting that number.
I know, I've seen it.
And that's part of the clarification that you need to do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We have made that clear when they've come here before this commission. We made it clear that we don't intend on paying any more than what we're currently paying. We talked with them about swapping out some routes. I mean, we all remember that. So we've made that clear to them already.
But I wonder if we need to make it clear to the
Again,
grant.
yeah, well, yeah, or again, I mean, I'd like to hear a little bit more, and then we'll kind of figure out what the next steps are.
Yes, sir.
My name is John Shaw, I'm from St. Petersburg. This is a solution looking for a problem. I don't think anybody has any idea that any of our beach communities need 60-foot buses. I applaud the vice mayor. As a retired police officer, safety of this kind of thing would scare me to death. Everybody here knows what we have with aggressive drivers going down our streets and what it's like. Imagine a 60-foot bus going each way down to the Don Cesar, and imagine what kind of problems you would face with traffic crashes and possible fatal accidents because you've got a bus that's much longer than any other vehicle people have tried to pass. And we all know there are people out there who are not going to be patient enough to try to wait. So I think you end up at the tail end with the worst part of the safety issue of this whole thing. So aside from all the other problems with this whole mess, I personally believe it's a very big issue for life and limb in your community. And you really don't want St. Pete Beach to become famous for its fatalities. Thank you.
Thank you. There's another thing I would like to mention too, is that we, from what I remember, this is way back several years ago, that the PSTA was after federal funding for 3 different possible routes for the BRT, and this was the only one they'd get the money for. So I'm not sure that the people people in Treasure Island told them they couldn't come. It was the fact that they couldn't get money for that one, so they came here. So, go ahead. Good evening.
Vicki Imes, how are you?
Good.
Good. I'm just asking that the commissioners oppose this project in writing. Thank you.
Thank you.